right, thank you for joining us for this Getting Started with Jamf Now webinar. On behalf of the entire Jamf team, all 720 plus of us, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here today. So I'm Garrett, Denny, Product Marketing Manager for Jamf Now. I sit at the intersection of our marketing, engineering, and sales teams to enable the product and its growth. So we're going to walk through a bit about the company, the product, of course, do a live demo today, and then talk a bit about some next steps that we've got for you heading out of this webinar. If you do have questions on the back end of this Q&A, feel free to reach out directly to me or to your preferred Apple reseller. They are going to be a great contact if you have follow-up questions, would like to dive into a live demo of your own, or just jump right in and buy some Jamf Now licenses. Your Apple reseller will be a great resource for that. So let's talk about Jamf. Who is Jamf? If you've never encountered us before, let's talk a bit about our company history. So 15 years ago, our co-founder, Zach, was working at the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire. It's about an hour outside of Minneapolis-St. Paul, just across the border into Wisconsin. So state school there, he's managing the deployment of Macs. And at first, the Mac deployment was fairly small, right? But as Apple products do, they made a lot of converts. So pretty quickly, that small deployment, it grew into a large Mac deployment. And Zach had a challenge on his hands. You know, he either was going to need to address that with headcount or additional man hours, or he could kind of get creative, which is what he did. At night, he started scripting, and pretty soon that first bundle of scripts became our first product, and that's how Jamf was formed. It was called Casper Suite at the time. So if you've run into us in the past, over the past 15 years, you might have heard Casper Suite. It was our first product, our flagship product. It was rebranded about a year ago, so it's now called Jamf Pro. We're, of course, here to hear about Jamf Now today, so we're going to dive into that. But just so you know, 2 products, 15 years of company history. We've, of course, evolved quite a bit in that 15 years, but we're thrilled to still be kind of firing on all cylinders serving this market. So how are we different? What differentiates Jamf from other MDM providers? And MDM is the niche that we play in. It's our industry. It's called mobile device management. So that's kind of the problem that we're trying to address, MDM, with the Jamf software products. And we're different in one very powerful way. This is great for you. It's great for your customers. It's zero-day support. What this means is we front-load a whole lot of engineering time on the very front side of development. So when Apple releases new versions of iOS, like 11, like it was in the fall of 2017, Mac OS, we got Mac OS High Sierra, also in the fall of 2017. Anytime any new versions of those operating systems come out, you need to have your product engineered and ready to be interoperable and compatible with those new versions of OS. So we, again, put a lot of engineering time up front so that when they release on that day, on that hour, that very second that those operating systems are generally available, we're ready to rock and roll. So you can go home, have a nice dinner, see your family and get a good night's sleep, just knowing that the Jamf platform is engineered to succeed from day 0. So you never need to worry about new versions of iOS or Mac OS coming down from Apple. We're ready to rock and roll. A little more about us here. 7 of the top 10 tech companies trust Jamf. 19 of the top 25 most valuable brands globally trust Jamf. But I think I speak for the entire team that one number rises above the rest. You probably guessed it. It's the center number there in pink. 93% customer retention. So, we watch this very closely as a team. We keep our eye on that all the time, and it's really a signal that we're developing a product that demonstrably makes your life better. We really want to take things off your plate, automate the tasks that we can, and keep you satisfied with this product year over year. So 93+% of our customers are sticking with us year over year. We are thrilled about that number. Again, Casper Suite is now called Jamf Pro. It's known for a couple of things. So zero-touch deployment, device configuration, inventory management are a few of those things. Really, I want you to think about Jamf Pro as the enterprise-grade solution, okay? Enterprise-grade solution. If you have a customer that needs to go very deep and very complex with their device deployment, Jamf Pro is the solution for them. It's been around 15 years. It's top of the industry for a reason. It's just very good at what it does. That said, a couple of years ago, we realized that we were not capturing the entire market. We had the top side of the market in the enterprise market with Jamf Pro, but it left an opening for us to develop a second product, and that's where Jamf Now came into the picture. So Jamf Now is known for easy MDM, mobile device management. It's known for simple device setup and security without complexity. End of the day, Jamf Now is really a tool that will automate tasks for your customers. It will take work off of their plates. So if they're in small, medium, even small enterprise business, we know that they have so many different things to do in their day. It's addressing printer issues, right? Wi-Fi, LAN, WAN connections, hardware and software provisioning, working with their CIO, CTO. And really between all of those different tasks, there's one thing that we can really help address and take off their plate, and that's mobile device management for iOS and macOS. So end of the day, Jamf Now will take work off your plate. Jamf Pro is something that gives you the tools to go even deeper and more complex into your ecosystem. So kind of two different ways of addressing those markets there. 4 things to touch on here before we dive in, though. Jamf Now is known for a couple of things. The first is a simple interface, and you'll see this right off the bat. I'm going to open up this demo environment in just a second, and you'll see the interface, the UI, is very, very clean. We put a lot of design time into this as a team. Our lead designer is very purposeful about streamlining the product and just making sure that everything that we do has a purpose, and it's something that enables your customers to get into the product, accomplish their task, and get back out as soon as possible. Second, over-the-air management. So, the old workflow was you would grab a device from somebody's desk, bring it to yours, plug it in, configure that device, unplug it, walk it back to their desk. And it's really, it's not a problem when you have 10 devices or so, but as you scale, it gets to be a time-consuming task, right? So with Jamf Now, it's over-the-air management, meaning you can configure a slew of devices, as many as you'd like, 10, 50, 100, many hundreds. And with a single click of a button, you click Save, and over-the-air wirelessly, all of those settings and configurations are over-the-air pushed to those devices. So very powerful. We integrate, third, with Apple's VPP, the Volume Purchase Program. This is a really great tool for, I would say, small and medium business in particular, because it lets you buy applications in bulk, store them in kind of a shared pool in your Jamf Now instance, give them out to devices, and then here's the key. Listen now. You can actually take those application licenses back and re-provision them at no additional cost. So the old workflow was that you would reimburse an employee, they would buy a paid app, or they would download a free app, and if they changed teams or they left the company, it was kind of a sunk cost, right? I mean, you had to just eat the cost of whatever that device was, that application was on, whatever device it was on, and you reimburse the employee, so it's out the door. With VPP, you can actually take that back, rescind it from that device, and turn around and re-provision it that minute. You don't have to wait. It's great. So very powerful, VPP. And finally, a single centralized portal. I do not need to belabor this. You and I have both seen plenty of instances where you've got a security portal, a device portal, an asset tracking portal, an application portal, right? And by the end of the day, you've logged into 5 or 6 or 10 different portals just trying to manage all of the different tasks that IT has in front of it. With Jamf Now, you have a single centralized portal for the tasks I was talking about earlier. You'll see this in a minute. We're going to dive right in, and you'll kind of see the different ways that we manage different parts of the ecosystem. But one single centralized portal, we think, is a powerful way we can make your life easier. So without further ado, let's dive into a live demo here. Let me just go ahead and pull this up and maximize our demo account. So as of fall 2017, our demo is publicly available at login.jamfcloud.com/demo. login.jamfcloud.com/demo. So feel free to check it out, poke around a bit yourself, and then go ahead and create your own free account when you're ready to rock and roll. The first thing you'll see here is our device dashboard. So on the left-hand side, we've got our toolbar, right? On the left-hand side, our sidebar. It defaults to devices. So really, this is a dashboard showing all of the different devices in my ecosystem. I've got 12 here. 3 of them have red dots, which we're going to circle back on. Those are the needs attention dot. You'll see that in just a minute. What I want to show first, though, are just a way to filter devices differently. So if you've got 20 or 50 or 100 plus devices, seeing them as tiles gets to be a bit of a bear. It really is space consuming. It's not the most efficient way to look at that. If we click here on view, we can cycle into a list view. So again, very easy to kind of get your arms wrapped around a deployment of 50 or 100 plus devices with that list view. We'll click again, go back to tile view here, and then I'll show you the red dots, needs attention. I can actually filter in a number of different ways. I am going to click needs attention, and pull up a filtered view of just the devices that need my attention today. This is so powerful for your customers because at the end of the day, everybody has more tasks in IT than they have time to accomplish, right? We've all been there. You've been there, I've been there. We've all seen this. And this is a great way that we kind of streamline what that customer is seeing and say, look, this is your to-do list. It's almost like a checkbox, right? You need to move through and address this iPod Touch, this MacBook Air, and Susan's iPhone. And once you address those, these red dots disappear, the tile will disappear from this view, and you'll be left with a clean blank screen. When that's ready, hey, just unfilter by checking again. We're back up to our main view here, and we're ready to move on with our day. Log out of Jamf Now, get on with your day. That is such a key metric for us, and I just want to highlight that one more time, that really we want to build software that lets you get into the software, accomplish your task, and get back out and get on with your day. We should not have you sitting in Jamf Now all day or half a day. This should be something, we'll click continue there, that is very quick and very seamless for you. So let's click on Accounting iPad right here and dive right in. What you're going to see is a list of vitals for this product. That's all of these different tiles here, showing you different parts of that product. In the upper left, I can choose who this is assigned to. This is only editable by me, not on the device. So I can assign this to, a generic name like iPad. But I could say something like Joe's iPad, right? And then assign that device. This is a demo account, so it's not going to assign, but I just want to show you it's as easy as changing that word and then clicking this green button. That's really it. Now, these are blueprint features we're going to dive into in a minute. I do want to scroll down and show you these two tiles right here. Operating system, of course, is very useful because you can keep up to date on what operating systems are deployed in your ecosystem. So I have two pieces of information right now. I see that we're on iOS 9, which is 2 full versions back as of recording. We're on iOS 11 as of fall 2017. And I see that this is deployed to the Accounting iPad, right? So between that, I can see, well, sensitive information in accounting, and we're 2 full versions back on iOS 9. Not a great situation. So maybe I can send a quick email armed with this information to accounting and say, in the next 7 days, let's make sure we really get up to date with iOS 11, right? Very easy to manage and to do that with the power of Jamf Now. Also, capacity. This is really useful for hardware refresh tracking. So I can see I've got a total of 12 gig on this iPad, 10 free, which is telling me that I've got 2 used or utilized on this device. Not a bad deal, right? Plenty of free space to grow into. That said, if I was at 90% utilization or 95% utilization, it's really time to get in touch with my reseller and just reach out and say, look, this is a great device. Clearly, accounting is loving using this device because they're maxing it out, which they're not here, but if they were, they're maxing it out, right? Heading into 2018 or 2019, the back end of next year, whatever it may be, let's take time to sit down with that reseller and say, all right, it's time to just get a broad look at our ecosystem and maybe plan on upgrading to something larger than 12.65 gig on our next iPads, right? And just enable that department to do their business function with the power of an Apple reseller and Apple technology. Finally, at the bottom here, 2 quick things that you know about our product. The first is that we have activation lock natively inside the product. So this is a feature that will marry a piece of hardware to a specific Apple ID. So if I set this up with my Apple ID, but then I give it to you, and you take it home, you're using it for work, and you accidentally wipe it or intentionally wipe it, you will actually have to bring that device back to me to re-authenticate once you've wiped that device because it is locked upon activation, right? Activation lock. Now, the other great thing that we can do is generate a bypass code. So if I forget my Apple ID password or I lose it or somebody leaves the company, within this portal right here, I can generate a code that will get me past that activation lock screen. So very powerful there. And finally, supervision. There are 2 ways to bring devices into Jamf Now. There's the lower form of management called enrollment. You'll see that over here on the left side. And that's really most common in BYOD, bring your own device scenarios. So if I've got employees that are personally paying for devices, right, they're not going to want very deep control of that device because it's my device, right? It's their device. Now, if the company is paying for it, we most commonly see people use supervision. It gives you much deeper and more granular control over that device and how it functions, and probably most importantly, how it does not function. So consider the differences, the lower form of management through enrollment or the higher form of management through supervision. Moving on to blueprints. This is the meat and potatoes of Jamf Now. If you've kind of zoned out or you've got other things, maybe email pulled up, I know how that goes, this is the thing you want to focus on. So I've got 4 blueprints established here in this demo account. I can create more up top or use a template. Let's just dive right in and take a look at what this functionally does. So a blueprint is really a recipe card, and it's showing me that I've got 3 devices assigned to this recipe, to this blueprint. I've got this iPad, the MacBook, and this other MacBook. Great. I can add more. We could drag them over from the ops blueprint, right, from the sales blueprint right here. Very easy to move things around inside of Jamf Now. But what it's going to show me is that I can choose what applications, security, email, Wi-Fi, restrictions, single app mode, either on or off, that I'm choosing for those devices. So let's dive in. What I'm saying here is I want these 4 applications automatically over-the-air wirelessly pushed to every device over the management blueprint. So very easy to do. This is something that's very useful if you've got customers that need a mixture of free applications and paid applications, anything along those lines where it really makes sense to kind of filter down for different teams what applications they should just get. They don't need to go download, they will just appear. Under security, we have a couple of options. I will uncheck this to start fresh. On the bottom here, I've got File Vault 2. So if you've got Mac deployments in a customer environment, this is a great way to take a step towards security with a single checkbox in Jamf Now. So this uses a protocol called full disk encryption. It's a method of encryption that uses the entire drive, or that encrypts the entire drive rather. Instead of a piece of information, a folder, a program, or a partition, it's going to encrypt that entire disk. So very powerful. It's, again, a great step forward in security practice. Consider doing this, just out of habit, right? Check this box. You never need to think about it again. For passcode, we can require passcodes on devices, and then underneath that option, I have a number of sub-options, including make it complex, alphanumeric, a certain length, and so forth. I can move through this pretty quickly, though. Check the box, uncheck this box, make the minimum length maybe 14, right, and keep moving. And pretty quickly here, maybe 30 to 60 seconds, I've chosen these options and I click Save. It's really that easy. With email, you'll never be faced with the age-old question, what is a mail server and why do I need it, right? You can establish all of that information right here. Choose your provider, enter the mail server information, and click Save. It's that easy. Then a user can log on, your employee could log on and see that their mail is already connected. All they have to do is authenticate. So username, password, and they're ready to rock. Wi-Fi, same thing. If you're storing Wi-Fi passwords on whiteboards or sticky notes, this will change the way you do that workflow. So I'm all of my time in Minneapolis. Maybe go to Palo Alto a couple times a year. I've never been to Austin. What this shows me, though, is the first time that I walk into the Austin office, I don't need to ask around or look around or find something on a shared drive, right, that will give me the password for Austin's office. I have it built in because of Jamf Now into that device. So it'll connect, and I'm ready to work. Restrictions are really kind of at the core of how you can control and tailor how a device functions. So the first 6 that you're going to see here are available for both the higher form of management, Supervision, right, and the lower form, which is called Enrollment. So any device in Jamf Now can have these 6 things applied to it. Disable the camera, disable Siri, and so forth. That said, when you supervise a device, you really get, as I said earlier, deeper control over that device. So I can turn off the installation of applications, right here, single checkbox. I can disable deleting applications with a single checkbox. I can disable things like the iTunes Store, Safari, iMessage, and so forth. It's very easy to tailor this experience and how that device will function with Jamf Now. The one thing I want to call out, we leave this checked, even on the demo account, is disabling erase content and settings. So this is an option within your settings menu that will essentially let somebody wipe a device clean. And really, if you're looking at that saying, there's no good reason for me to give an employee that kind of power, right? They should really have to come to me, I will wipe the device, make sure that we don't lose any sensitive customer information, right? Not a problem. With Jamf Now, check this box, and you're ready to go. Now, single app mode is something we put live in the summer of 2017. This is a really powerful feature if you have brick and mortar locations, you're in retail, If you have a lobby where you have customers check in or walk into your facility, if you go to trade shows, things like that. What you can do is choose a single application and force that device to function as just that application. So let's say a camera, for example. What I can do is tell any device in this blueprint, in this management blueprint, that all I want them to do is function as a camera. So for maybe an office party or a trade show, what have you, I can really lock this device in and say, you shouldn't do anything else, function only as a camera. I can turn off auto lock, touch, rotation, volume, and so forth, and really lock that device down into a single application, a single app mode. And finally, wallpaper, you can custom brand devices with Jamf Now. Upload your custom wallpaper right here, and any device under this blueprint will have that custom wallpaper wirelessly immediately. Applications, so we've walked through this quite a bit. I want to call out one thing. So this is a list of all, I think I've got, 34 applications here. You'll see them as I scroll. And you might notice that some of them have this information here and some do not. This information being present indicates that it is a VPP-enabled application. So it is connected to Apple's volume purchase program. That's great. It'll tell me how many licenses I have total, how many are taken, and how many are left. So if I scroll up, this is a great example. 3 remaining. So if I'm only going to give out 2 or maybe 3 box accounts this year, until the end of the year, the end of the quarter, not a problem, right? That's a very doable thing with the number of licenses that I have left. That said, if I've got 5 or 10 or more of those coming down the pipe, I really need the ability to provision more licenses than just 3. So click ellipses and click purchase more. It's that easy with VPP. Now that said, if it's blank, it means it is not a VPP-enabled application. We click the ellipses again and convert to VPP. Now speaking of volume purchase program, when you create your account, the first thing you'll do is follow this link to the Apple portal, grab a security token, and upload it here. It's just to authenticate your account. Same thing with APNS, the Apple Push Notification Service. You do not need to know these acronyms, but just so you know, the first thing you'll do is follow these 2 steps right here, upload a certificate from Apple, and just say, yes, this is a trusted vendor, and click. Very easy to do there. Now, DEP is something I want to walk through a little bit more in detail. This is the Device Enrollment Program. So DEP is something, again, from Apple Corporate that lets you essentially configure a device from the factory. It's so powerful. So, the old workflow was all devices would come to your desk, you'd cut them open, power them on, configure them, get them in Jamf or whatever, some other MDM or maybe no MDM at all, box them back up, and then give them to an employee, right? Kind of time consuming. With the power of DEP, you can actually connect it to Apple and to Jamf the first time it powers on. So ship that device directly to somebody's house, directly to somebody else's desk, anywhere you'd like. And the first time they cut it open and power that device on, they are ready to go. It will reach out to Jamf, authenticate, and you're set. Just upload that token here if you'd like to use that service. And finally, I would say that you can get DEP from either Apple itself or from your Apple reseller. They have a lot of great information there, so feel free to reach out and just say, I don't really understand DEP. It sounds great. Help me get up and running. Fantastic. They'll help you. They'll help you with that. Open enrollment, we touched on this. It is the lower form of management. With this checkbox, I can open essentially a portal to allow enrollment. I'll set a kind of a fun password here, 1984, like the famous Apple commercial, right? I'll choose how long I want this portal to stay open to allow enrollment, maybe let's say half a day, right, this morning. Save those settings. What you'll do then is send people to this link. They'll use this password, and they can enroll that device themselves without your involvement. Very, very kind of empowering and a tool for automation. Finally, teammates. This, again, was something we launched in the summer/fall of 2017. It really gives you a lot of power because it lets you share administrative duties with another user or many users. There's no limit to how many users you can have on here, so just choose the appropriate amount. Your entire IT team, different people in different branches, different regions, even different countries. You can share the administrative load of Jamf Now, which is very small, but you can have multiple people on there. The other thing you can do that's very important is you can have redundancies. So if somebody does go on vacation or PTO, changes teams, or leaves the company, you can have multiple people with admin rights on here stacked up, ready to go, ready to take over and hit the ground running. So that's all I've got for a live demo here today of Jamf Now. What I do want to say is I do have some next steps for you. Again, of course, if you go through an Apple reseller, reach out to them, encourage you to continue that conversation and just say, hey, what's my next step here? Is it buying hardware? Is it getting set up with Jamf Now? Is it both? They'll be able to help you. They're going to be great. The other thing I'll say is feel free to reach out to me if you have questions specifically about our team. Your reseller can also put you in touch with me and our team, but feel free, garrett.denny@jamf.com. That's GARRETT.DENNEY@jamf.com. Happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, head straight to your reseller. They're going to be a great resource. So with that, on behalf, once again, of the entire Jamf team, thank you for sticking with us today and sitting through this training video about getting started with Jamf Now. Have a great day.